Hey, good morning, everyone. Hope you guys had a great weekend. And Monday the 17th, I want to do an update here on our cycles. So we're coming into what we've been, the long-term sine waves that we've been talking about for a while, right? Um, well, since I have it up though, this is the 4-hour chart actually. I'm not quite sure why it says the daily. But on BTC this morning, we were going sideways for most of yesterday, Sunday, and then we just kind of broke down from this wedge. And I think it's important starting the week here. You had a little bit of this going on, and now the 4-hour cycle looks like maybe it's got room to come back down. So 6,200 is going to be, I think, the first place to set the tone for early this week. All right, and then we just put in a pivot below the 200 on the 4-hour, also 6,600. So those are the two spots we need to watch on the up. Maybe we'll see what the market looks like if and when we get the 4-hour down here, but that might be a time to maybe add to some Ethereum or some other stuff that we liked a couple weeks ago, last week. So I'll keep you updated on that. When we look at the higher cycles, BTC monthly, still in our consolidation. That's not surprising. That's nothing new. Nothing going on from a volume perspective. Our cycle is low, but we still haven't crossed up. So I remember when we were making this, we were ribboning up here, and it was like, man, I can't believe this. This is one of these markets where I've never seen a monthly cycle just hang out here for so long. And now, of course, we finally got the downturn on that. So we're actually close to the bottom here. When we look at it from a 8.6 frequency, we're in the ninth week down from this candle, this monthly candle here in January. So we're still close to the bigger picture cycles turning up. The weekly chart I kind of posted in the room just to get a feel for where that cycle is. We're at an 8 count on the week. Volume is really low again. This may or may not turn up, but it's currently down. And then we got our pivot at 74.2, which is the TMS on the upside. That's going to determine whether or not we can get any momentum and get a higher high. So we haven't had higher highs since last year. Now, the sine waves. So this is another cycle that we've been all talking about, right? And the longer term turned up here in September. It's rising, this blue line. The other longer term wave is basically kind of bottomed last week, turning back up into this week. And then we also have this shorter wave, which is actually tomorrow. So today, tomorrow, the next day. If we get it, if we can make a higher low in this turn, guys, and then take out the previous high from last week, that should say we should rally. We should rally with this next cycle, probably at least into October. If we can't hold the lows on this turning point, that's going to be significant because then we've got another. We don't have till October till that the next turning point on the shorter wave. So we kind of need to watch this week. Obviously, it matters both from a price perspective, a trend perspective, but then also from a timing perspective. Look at Ether real quick. Kind of a bottoming tail versus BTC. We haven't hit this 0.23 level, 0.023 level, but this is more of a zone. So we're back to levels where Ether looks really attractive. Why don't I? I don't have any cycles up. The lows from last September, just gravitating towards 200, 205. Obviously, if we take out the low here from last week, then we've got that 130 level. This is a pretty significant low, though, we made in July. Oh, that's the 130 is the low from July. All right, the low from September is basically around this 200. Our cycle turned up, but again, we are still making lower highs. So for this daily to turn up, we really have to get back above 301. Pretty big move. If we look at more of the intermediate term, again, we went from a lower low sideways, so still need to see if we're going to double bottom, put in a higher low. But we just have a phase one lower low to a bounce to lower highs so far. But let's again, when we look at that BTC cycle, if the 4-hour comes down and maybe we get Ether back towards 200, that's actually a pretty good spot to buy. Because what you can see here is maybe we get a 30, what we call a 30 halt. So here's a pretty good move up. That's your wall of buying, BCI right in the middle, about halfway. But you see how the 30 is rising. So typically when you have a strong move, you get that pullback towards the 30 and then you get a higher low. So we'll kind of watch to see if we catch this. Maybe 210 is actually not a bad spot to buy. Maybe even with the hourly on BTC cycle. I guess we'll do Litecoin. Bounce to a lower high, fail at the 200. Maybe you get an inverse head and shoulders around 52. Litecoin's kind of stuck on that 50 handle. Litecoin versus BTC. A lot of support, 0.0085, 0.08, 0.0076. Man, versus Litecoin. I'm looking at this swing line. It kind of jumps out at me. Swing line, guys, is kind of interesting here. All the way down. Haven't been able to take out the prior's high. We got a bottoming tail here. We're right on the 8. If we can get something bullish, get above the highs like we did here, that might be the start of the right-hand side of the chart on an upcycle. You know, kind of have this going on longer term. So we're back definitely low, you know, for Litecoin also, kind of like a Ether. And then lastly, maybe let's look at some alts. So I kind of want to go to the majors, get a feel for what's maybe anything sticking out. Bitcoin Cash, Neo, cheap, Cardano, Ether's holding in one of the strongest, Ripple, Monero, Litecoin, all hanging in. EOS is in the middle, Dash, Ethereum Classic, IOTA. Bitcoin Cash is pretty cheap. Let's look at those individually. Cardano. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 months down. With BCI right in the middle. We have 4 months down BCI. Another 5 months down. Weekly. Still can't get above the 8. Nothing new. Weekly cycle's low. It's just Cardano, the name of the game is you just keep getting lower lows. Well, let's watch this, the lows from last week. 6 cents. If we break that, I mean, I'm a buyer at 5 cents, quarter, and something between there and 0. Neo was low on a relative value basis. Still nothing but lower lows, lower highs. You can watch that $15 area. Again, this would be this, Cardano, all this stuff, guys. If we get BTC back towards that level, 6,000, and then back towards the 4-hour cycle, that's the time maybe to take some risk here, you know, with a stop below like 13 on Neo. I think that makes sense. The daily cycle is low. Monero is one of the stronger ones. You can see here we've actually made a higher high, made a higher low. So this is one of the charts that's trying to firm up. Just don't quite have positive bands just yet. 0x versus BTC, nothing but lower highs. That was the bottoming tail. We had a pretty strong move off of. Get that, I think, now. Nothing but, let's see. What's the price level there? Oh, 50 cents. The daily cycle's up, but kind of it's the same thing with NEO. If we get back towards the lows, maybe we take some risk in front of 45, and the stop below the bottoming tail here. Lastly, let's just look at BNB. BNB is actually phase 2 higher low here. I have a double bottom or a triple bottom at 9.25, and then we got a lower high pivot at 10.20. It's still technically making it bearish, but that's pretty good support. We've liked Binance overall during this market weakness. But you don't have to be in a huge rush. Let's just see how this cycle plays out this week. But I'll keep you guys updated. Hope that helps.